So I guess my vegan story began about 5 years ago when I went vegetarian. But it took me another 4 years until I finally made the connection and went vegan. So at that time, I already knew that it wasn't really giving cows and chicken a good time if you ate their milk and their eggs. But I guess the biggest reason for me to make the switch was simply seeing other vegans being vegan. So the day before I went vegan, I went to the uh, vegan vegan festival in Berlin. It's supposed to be the biggest vegan festival in Europe or something. And yeah, at that time they still called it the Vegetarian and Vegan Festival, but now it's only the Vegan Festival. And yeah, so I went there because I could kind of relate because I was a vegetarian, and I saw all those people advocating the vegan lifestyle and stuff in very different ways. So like vegan strongmen, vegan running groups, and a whole bunch of people who advocated the vegan lifestyle from an ethical point of view. And yeah, so I went to that festival, and I guess it kind of inspired me. And so next day I went vegan and never looked back. So yeah, and but then I was vegan. I wasn't really health conscious at that time. I wasn't health conscious, so I would still be eating. Well, the first thing I did when went vegan was that I replaced all the animal products with meat substitutes, with like these meat substitutes and milk substitutes, so plant milks and yeah, meat substitutes, which I have been doing, which I did when I was vegetarian as well, but as a vegan I did it even more. Like for example with plant milks and all these soy burger stuff, all these soy products, and yeah, I was still eating. Yeah, and I replaced butter. Obviously, I replaced butter with margarine or with vegan olive oil based, or other vegetable oil based butters, I guess. And yeah, yeah, I did that for quite a while. I did that for like half a year, but then through the through watching a lot of YouTube videos. At first, I watched YouTube videos about the ethical aspect of veganism because that was part of what brought me to this lifestyle. I never even considered the health aspect of veganism because at that time I didn't even know it had a health aspect. At that time, I thought at best you could be healthy as a vegan if you took vitamin B12 supplements. So I thought is at best as good as the standard Western diet. So now I obviously know better, but that wasn't my way of thinking back then. That I thought it's the ethical thing to do, so I'll do it, and I'll try making it as healthy as possible. Through watching YouTube videos like about vegan activists like Gary Yourofsky and stuff like that, I kind of got into other vegan YouTubers, and uh, that ultimately brought me to the see the health aspect of veganism through YouTubers like Durian Rider, and from there I gradually made my diet healthier by at first eating less of these meat substitutes and soy products. After that, what I first cut out was oils, vegetable oils, So I say cut out, but I drastically reduced my consumption of vegetable oils, meaning I wouldn't ever add them to food or anything, and I'm really I don't generally buy stuff that has oil in it. I mean, occasionally I will have a bit of food that has sauces that contain oil in it as well. And around the same time I cut out oil, I think I also cut out caffeine. So I've never been a great coffee drinker. Drank one vegan coffee in my entire life and I hated it. So yeah, for me cutting out caffeine was like basically cutting out energy drinks and cutting out Coke, stuff like that, and tea. And another thing I cut out of my diet was cacao, so basically chocolate, and even vegan chocolate, because yeah, also because a video of Durian Rider, I guess, that pointed out that chocolate has theobromine in it, and theobromine is actually a neurotoxin, so it doesn't sound very good, and it isn't very good. It's not like chocolate's gonna kill you or anything, but the mere fact that chocolate will, in little doses, kill dogs and cats should be triggering an alarm in you that it isn't so healthy. Up to this point, the last thing I cut out of my diet is salt. Well, I didn't really cut salt completely out. I just at first I just stopped using a salt shaker, but then of course a lot of refined products have a lot of salt in it, a lot of extra salt in them as well. So I have become more aware of that and tried to really lower my salt intake from those sources. Now to the things that I introduced into my lifestyle. So the first thing would be exercise. I've started running about 2 years ago and have gotten more and more consistent with it within the past months and the past year. And yeah, trying to improve my fitness level through running. And I have also quite recently began to drink a lot more water, like 2 to 3 liters a day. In the morning, a liter in the morning, and a lot of water before meal. Yeah, and I never took like hard drugs like alcohol or weed, smoked weed or smoked or anything like that. Never took those kind of drugs. No steroids, nothing like that. And now my diet's pretty much centered around whole high carb plant foods. So that means fruits early in the day and starches and vegetables and beans and stuff like that, cooked food later in the day. And another thing I forgot to mention would be nuts. So I eat a lot less nuts than I used to. Nuts aren't bad for you in general, so a few nuts a day won't hurt you. They're arguably even gonna be good for you, but you should never eat too many.